睇睇呢個閱讀理解啦 ，The Great Barrier Reef 啦，大堡礁啦，喺澳洲嗰度噶啦。咁呢個第一段啦 ，The Great Barrier Reef is the planet's largest coral reef system, located in the Coral Sea off the coast of Queensland, Australia。咁 The Great Barrier Reef 啦，你睇睇個，俾個圖你睇睇。咁呢個 Great Barrier Reef 啦，嗱呢個澳洲啦，咁而 The Great Barrier Reef 咧就喺 Queensland 嘅上邊呢一個位嗰度啦。咁就會有好多呢啲咁樣，要喺上面望落去就會有好多呢珊瑚礁啊，同埋有好多呢啲島或者俾你哋可以去睇嘅地方。咁所以咧呢個佢有講過咧就係 off the coast of Queensland, Australia。咁佢就講緊係澳洲昆士蘭嗰個嘅出邊嗰度。The reef stretches for 2,600 kilometers and covers an area of 344,400 square kilometers。咁即係因為佢其實係好大嘅個範圍，咁所以就叫做 The Great Barrier Reef 啦。In fact, the Great Barrier Reef is so large it can be seen from outer space. It is the largest structure to be built by living organisms on planet Earth。咁呢個係最主要講咧，係因為大到可以咧 can be seen from 乜嘢咧 outer space， 即係話喺外太空都可以見到呢一個大堡礁嘅嗰個嘅即係佢深色嗰個部分。咁而亦都係因為咧，所有即係嗰啲珊瑚都係一啲 living organisms 啦，咁所以咧就係一個最大嘅即係由啲生物去製造出嚟嘅一個嘅 structure。咁呢個其實係冇答案嘅，咁我主要解翻俾你聽。Despite its vast size, the reef is under threat from human influence. Climate change, pollution, fishing, oil spills, and tourism are among the primary threats to the reef's well-being。咁即係話咧，即係呢個 despite 點解咧 ？despite 係解即係儘管啦，即係等於好似 although 咁嘅意思。儘管咧 ，vast means large。即係話咧，佢真係好大個範圍，都係呢個大堡礁啦。The reef is under threat from human influence， 即係話呢個礁石咧就即係都依然係受到人類嘅影響 influence， 即係佢嗰個嘅影響。咁接住就講咗嗰啲影響啦，例如咧係 climate change 啦，即係因為引致到啲天氣嘅變化啦 ，pollution 係污染啦。Fishing 即係啲人去過度嘅捕魚啦 ，oil spills 即係啲人咧係即係漏油啊，即係啲譬如啲船啊或者啲遊輪啊漏咗啲油污而導致到嗰個嘅大堡礁會受到影響啦。咁仲有當然係 tourism， 即係好多遊客去啦，就係都係啲 primary threats。Primary means 即係一個 major 咁嘅意思啊，即係最主要嘅威脅。OK， 令到嗰個珊瑚礁嘅即係嗰度唔係可以保持得好完整。In a study conducted in 2012, scientists estimate that the reef had lost more than half of its coral since 1985. In efforts to limit the destruction of this unique natural phenomenon, a large part of the reef is protected by the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park。咁樣咧，佢即係話有一個 study 即係一個 research 咁嘅意思，即係有一個研究。而呢個研究咧係2012年做啦，就科學家係估計話嗰個即係嗰啲珊瑚礁咧係 lost more than half of its coral since 1985， 即係話咧喺過去接近20年啦，就已經冇咗一半啦，lost more than half of its coral。In efforts to 即係話佢哋好努力咧去想 limit the destruction 即係破壞啊，即係 the destroy 即係 people who destroy the Great Barrier Reef。This unique 即係呢一個獨一無二嘅意思，即係呢個咁 special 咁 only one。一個嘅呢一個咁樣嘅自然嘅 phenomenon 咧，就係個現象。咁樣咧，於是咧就係大部分嘅大堡礁咧，都係由呢一個嘅佢哋有一個部門啦，就係 The Great Barrier Reef Marine Park 去保護住嘅。好啦，到第三段啦。But the damage caused to the reef is not only human in origin. A kind of starfish known as the crown of thorns starfish feeds on the coral and is also partly responsible for the destruction of the reef。即係話呢一種咁樣嘅starfish 啦，係叫做 crown of thorns starfish 啦，亦都係佢哋係會 feed on， 即係佢哋會食嗰啲嘅珊瑚啊，亦都係可以話係部分，即係佢哋即係都要負上部分嘅原因係責任啦，佢哋係會係就構成呢一個大堡礁嘅一個破壞。 咁第一條問題問你啦 ，Other than human influence, what else caused damage to the reef？ 咁你會答翻咧就係、你會講咧就係、the crown of fish, the crown of thorn, starfish also cause damage to the reef。咁睇翻咧嗰個呢一度 crown of thorns 咧，因為佢呢個係即係一個被人稱為嘅一個名啦，可能佢嗰個本身嗰個魚嘅名未必係咁樣，咁所以你要寫翻跟佢一樣咧，就 open and close quotation mark 啦，同埋咧要 hyphenated， 咁樣先至會啱嘅。好啦，接住啦，輪到睇埋落去呢一個嘅呢種關於呢隻嘅 starfish 啦。During periods when the population of these starfish drastically increases in number, the reef can be seriously affected。即係話咧，即係話呢啲魚咧個 population， 即係話呢啲魚嘅數字咧，好 drastically， 即係大大地增加，即係 increase rapidly 嗰陣時咧，咁嗰個咧就會嗰啲礁石咧就會受到影響啦。This variation in the numbers of these creatures is thought to take place according to the natural cycles, independent of human influence。就係話呢一種咁樣嘅即係生物啦，而影響大堡礁嘅呢一種生物咧，佢哋有個 variation in numbers， 即係 that means 咧 they change in numbers， 即係佢哋係時多時少，即係有時會有好多呢種魚，有時有好少呢種咁樣嘅 starfish。咁樣咧係點解會有製成呢個原因嘅咧？造成呢個原因嘅咧就係、其實係因為係一個 natural cycle， 即係佢哋嗰個本身嘅自然嘅生態啦。咁而係independence of human influence 嘅意思咧就係解話係唔關人類嘅影響嘅。好啦，接住呢一度啦，佢係 but an overfishing of the predators of the starfish can have an influence on their numbers。咁但係咧就係亦都係因為呢一個係過分捕獵呢啲佢哋嘅 predator， 即係佢哋嘅捕獵者，即係食佢哋呢種魚嘅一啲捕獵者咧，我哋即係人類去獵殺嗰啲佢哋嘅 predators 咧，而導致到影響咗佢哋嗰個嘅數字。咁呢一度咧，你會見到條問題咧，就係問 How do humans affect the number of crown of thorn starfish？ 呢個應該係有翻個 hyphen 啦。咁人類點樣影響佢哋咧？就係、你會寫翻咧，呢度由呢個開始寫翻啦。Humans affect the number of crown of thorn starfish。咁呢一度咧，因為你會見到呢個有個 how 啦，咁你就係 by 乜嘢咧？就係、因為咧，我哋係做乜嘢啊？我哋係 overfishing of the predators of 呢種魚，咁所以咧，我哋就應該係 by 乜嘢啊？ by overfishing their predators。因為前面已經講咗呢種魚啦嘛，咁我哋就咁需要 their predators。Predator 咧嘅意思係乜嘢咧？就係佢哋嘅佢哋捕食性，即係嗰啲食嗰啲動物嘅嗰啲魚啦。下一段啦 ，For the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, the Great Barrier Reef has huge cultural and spiritual significance。咩叫 Aboriginal 咧？即係嗰啲嘅土著，即係佢哋本身，即係話咧本身喺嗰度，即係以前嗰啲祖先都係喺嗰度嚟嘅人。咁你會留意到咧，就係話其實澳洲都其實係一啲移民國啦，即係好多其實歐洲好多人咧係移民去澳洲嘅，咁本身其實澳洲裏邊咧係有一啲土著嘅，咁同埋 Torres Strait 就係指佢哋嗰啲即係嗰啲島嶼嘅嗰啲嘅原居民，其實可以講話係啲原居民。對於啲原居民嚟講咧，大堡礁係有好重要嘅 cultural 即係文化啦，同埋 spiritual 即係佢哋精神上嘅象徵。Aboriginal Australians have been living in the area surrounding the reef for over 40,000 years。咁由於佢哋係原居民啦，所以佢哋已經喺澳洲生活咗4萬年。For thousands of years, it has provided the Aboriginal people with food for their subsistence tribal lifestyle， 即係話咧喺即係咁多嘅，即係佢哋嘅祖先咁多代咧，有大堡礁對佢有咩用咧？就係可以 provide them with food for their subsistence or tribal lifestyle。subsistence 係解咩咧？維持生計生活下去嘅一啲嘅方法。OK，subsistence。好啦，接住咧就係話所以睇翻呢一度啦，第3題啦。Why was the reef important to the Aboriginal people？ 即係對於啲原居民點解 ？Why 點解咁重要咧？咁樣咧就係因為佢哋係可以提供佢哋俾佢哋食物咯。即係以前咧係生活都未得可以有好多嘅即係好似而家咁樣咁方便嘅話，以前佢哋就會需要去大堡礁度獵殺好多嘅魚類去生活啦。咁所以個答案咧就係話。This was because the Great Barrier Reef做乜嘢咧？就係 provide 就會寫翻就係 provide them with food。provide them with food， 然後咧就係講話for their subsistence tribal lifestyle。好啦，跟住下一條問你啦 ，Why are Aboriginal people permitted to hunt and fish on the reef？ 點解咧？就係話啲土著係可以俾佢哋喺度獵殺咧？咁樣我哋睇一睇啦。Although many of these people now live a modern lifestyle， 佢 these people 即係指嗰啲原居民啊，即係 Aboriginal people， 即係話而家佢哋已經生活得係用啲現代嘅生活，唔需要再去捕魚去獵食啦。And no longer require the reef for their food。Many still practice their ancestors' traditional hunting methods。咁由於佢哋原居民，佢哋想keep 住佢哋嘅祖先 ancestor， 即係佢哋嘅祖先嘅傳統捕獵嘅方法。In order to preserve the traditions of these native people, non-commercial hunting and fishing by Aborigines is permitted by the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authorities。咁即係話咧係非商業性嘅捕獵啦。或者係即係捕魚咧係可以，即係佢哋係 permitted 係准許嘅。咁即係話，如果係商業性嘅咧就唔准許啦。咁條問題咧就問你點解佢哋係准許咧？就係話點解咧？因為呢個有個 in order to 啦 ，in order to 中文即係為了啊。咁所以就係其實就係為咗要 preserve 即係能夠可以 keep 咁嘅意思 ，keep the traditions of these native people。咁你睇翻咧 ，why are Aboriginal people permit 咧？就係 this is because。This can preserve their tradition， 就可以 keep 住佢哋嗰個嘅傳統啦。好啦，接住啦，到第5題啦。呢一度 about 7% of the reef is accessible to tourists。咁你會見到咧，佢話只有話成個大堡礁咁大啦，只有7% 咧係少過1% 啦，係會少過10% 係會係俾遊客嘅啫。咁所以其實就有90幾個%都係其實係啲遊客係去唔到㗎。咁佢呢條問題問你tourists allowed to go experience the majority 即係意思大部分嘅大堡礁咧？咁係 how do you know？ 咁當然係 no 啦。No, they are not allowed to go experience the majority of the reef。咁係邊一句咧？就係呢一句啦，就係 about 7% of the reef is accessible to tourists 咧，就let me know。About 7% of the reef is accessible 即係 可以接觸到咁嘅意思。accessible tourists shows that 或者 lets me know 都得。好啦，第6題啦 ，What makes the Reef such a popular tourist destination？ 點解呢個大堡礁係一個咁受歡迎嘅一個旅遊目的地咧？咁睇翻呢一度啦，佢就係講話咧，The Reef's huge biodiversity and warm, clear waters can be experienced either from glass-bottomed boats, helicopters, underwater observatories, or through scuba diving trips。即係話咧，呢個大堡礁係好大嘅一個生態環境啦，同埋係有好啲水係比較暖嘅，即係好多時長年都係可以落去水裏邊潛水。咁所以就係一個 most popular tourist destination 啦。咁所以呢個就係原因，就係 exactly 就係佢問你乜嘢令到佢係一個 tourist destination 啦。就係因為佢長年啲水都好暖啦，同埋佢有 huge biodiversity。咁你會講咧，就係話 is warm 唔係 is huge biodiversity and warm clear water。跟住就寫翻呢一度啦。makes the reef such a popular tourist destination， 即係話令到佢係一個咧好受歡迎嘅一個旅遊景點啦。好啦，接住到第2個閱讀理解啦。My dog， his nose is short and scrubby。咩叫 scrubby 咧 ？scrubby 即係好矮、好細咁嘅意思 ，small。His ears hang rather low。呢度寫翻 small 先啦。He always brings a stick bag no matter how far you throw。咁同佢玩嗰陣時咧，佢掟嗰支棒周圍，即係周圍掟，佢無論掟到幾遠咧，佢都會拎得翻嚟喎。He gets spanked rather often for things he shouldn't do。咩叫 spank 咧？即係俾人哋打。嘅意思 ，like lying on beds and barking。咁佢曳做乜嘢咧？就係喺床上瞓覺啦，喺度吠啦 ，and eating up eating up shoes when they are new， 就走去咬嗰啲鞋。And he always wants to be going where he isn't supposed to go， 即係話咧，佢係成日都去啲地方佢唔應該去嘅地方。He tracks up the house when it's snowing。Oh puppy, I love you so。咁呢度咧有首詩就講關於佢自己隻寵物啦。咁佢問你 What happens when the dog does things he shouldn't do？ 咁呢度咧其實最主要咧就係講翻 he gets spanked，spank 即係意思俾人打啦。第2啦。Name 2 things the dog does that he shouldn't， 即係佢應該佢做咗啲嘢，但係佢係唔應該做嘅。咁包括乜嘢咧？就係 lying on beds and barking 啦，可以咁講。barking 啦，咁當然仲可以係寫埋乜嘢咧？就係 eating up shoes when they are new， 或者係 going to places where he isn't supposed to go。 咁其實曳嘢有1、2、3樣、4樣都 OK 嘅。好啦，咁跟住之後咧 ，What game does the poet play with the dog？ 咁究竟玩咩遊戲咧？咁呢度有講啦，佢係 no matter how， 唔係佢話 he always brings a stick back no matter how far you throw， 即係無論你掟到幾遠，佢都會拎翻嚟。咁所以咧呢一個咧就係佢哋 play 乜嘢咧？就係嗰個遊戲咧就係the poet throws a stick for his dog to get it back。 係啦，咁就會叫佢咧去即係去個 poet 會係啦 for the dog to get it back， 即係佢隻狗咧去執翻佢啦。好啦，find the word in the poem which rhyme with the with the following。咁 low 係同邊個字咧？我哋揾翻 low 呢個字先啦。呢一個 low 啦，就同 throw 咯。OK， 咁而第二組咧就係going 咧 ，going 咧就會係同 snowing 啦。咁另外咧，仲有 go 咧就會同 so 咯。咁所以我哋寫翻落去啦，呢個會。咁所以咧就 low 佢翻啲 words in the poem， 即係想咁寫嗰個字啫嘛。咁所以呢個 low 咧就係 throw 啦 ，going 咧就係 snowing。而 go，what do you like to do with him if you have a dog？ 咁樣咧就會係應該咧就係watch TV with him 咯，因為佢叫你 short answer 啊嘛。有呢個係 suggest answer 嚟嘅啫，可以係有其他嘅答案。好啦，接住啦到 preposition 啦。Jenny liked to watch TV, especially programs about traveling to 啦，當然係 traveling to other countries. But today she was very excited because she was going to turn 咁究竟 turn on 嘅話係 turn off the TV 咧 and get 咩 sofa and travel to all places she had seen her friend Sarah。因為咧呢度咧你會見到咧就係因為佢會 travel， 咁所以一定係 turn off TV 啦，係咪 ？turn off TV，turn off the TV and get 乜嘢咧 off the sofa， 即係話佢會離開個 sofa 咯。And travel to all the places she has seen her friend Sarah。She had spent the last few months 乜嘢咧 on the internet， 英文係 on the internet 啦 ，learning about other countries and looking 第五啦 ，looking 呢個係 on the internet 啦 ，get off the sofa。looking 去乜嘢咧？佢去睇啲酒店，佢哋係 look at the hotel。Look at hotels where they could stay。咁呢個 at 或者 for 都得嘅，可以揾酒店或者睇一啲酒店。Jenny and Sarah has split the cost of the trip， 因為 split 咧即係分嗰個嘅費用啊。咁係 split the cost of the trip between them。兩個人之間咧就會 between 啦，三個人以上咧就會 among。咁因為兩個人啫嘛。It was too expensive for one person to pay. Now she wouldn't wait to get 乜嘢咧 ？Get away from 即係遠離佢嗰個電視啦。Get away from her TV and fly off with Sarah to their first country. The following morning, Jenny and Sarah went out of the house. Out of the house 即係佢哋咧會離開係啦嗰間屋啦。咁呢一個咧係for the first 呢個係 to their first country， 呢個 fly off with somebody to their first country 去一個地方。好啦，接住到tenses 啦。呢一個咧第一咧就係 Jenny and Sarah 乜嘢 to the airport with plenty of time to spare。佢呢一度咧就係應該係 got 咯，即係只係講話佢形容佢當時就去到嗰個機場。Their flight 好啦，呢個故之後呢個故仔係過去式嘅，佢一直都係，所以係 didn't leave for another hour. In the meantime, the girls decide that佢哋決定佢哋會去買啦，會去買一啲 extra supply， 即係啲另外一啲嘢，咁所以係用將來式，但係因為呢個故仔，所以用 will 要轉咗做 would go to buy。Some extra supplies for the journey. Jenny bought a bottle of sun cream because she was very pale and her skin need 後邊要不變動詞 need to stay protected. Sarah bought a book to read on the beach. But it doesn't matter. 佢哋5題啦。It will get covered， 即係話咧，佢話將會，即係佢係啊，將會滿晒沙，但係佢唔介意。They also bought drinks because even though people used to take liquid through the airport security, now it's 即係以前咧就會帶好多嗰啲嘅嘢去，即係有啲飲品啊嗰啲嘢去機場啦過關啦，但係而家係 it is against the law， it is 或者 it was 都得。When the plane was ready, Sarah, Jenny and the other passengers 係被人叫啦，所以係 were called。To board the plane. Jenny couldn't believe it. They 乜嘢啊？佢哋準備去。They were going to leave home and travel around the world.好啦，佢哋將會見到好多嘢啦。They would see，佢哋將會見。但係因為呢個古仔係過去式，所以咧嗰個將會咧就會轉咗做 would 啦。好啦，接住到 suffixes 啦，咁呢個都好簡單。Jenny and Sarah made sure all their breakable things， 即係可以爛得嘅嘢咧，were safely packed，and that they still had their valuable things with them. Jenny had never been on a plane before, so when she saw that the plane was 乜嘢咧可以見到係 visible through the window, she got nervous because she was scared of flying. She had seen 好啦，呢一個咧係 psychiatry 呢個 a person who does psychiatry 即係意思咧係一個 psychiatrist 即係一個精神病科醫生。And he had tried his best to make her think differently about flying, but she was still scared. Jenny decided to be sensible， 即係佢想要理智一啲啦，and not get too scared. Lots of people flew on planes every day, and they all stayed safe. The people who build 咧就係嗰啲 the builders 啦。The builders who had built the plane would have made sure it was safe. Besides, Sarah was a regular 乜嘢咧 ？A person who gives custom 咧，其實指即係俾啲即係生意咁嘅意思，俾即係俾錢人哋去做嘢，所以係 regular customer of the flight company. And she said they had the safest planes, and she always had an enjoyable 即係好令人享受，即係佢好 enjoy 嘅一個旅程。輪到 passive voice 啦，呢一度 when the plane landed in Barcelona, the passengers 好啦，呢個 usher 咧係被人哋引領咁嘅意思啊，即係 lead 嘅意思，即係俾人帶去，咁所以係要用被動式啦，咁所以係 were led， were ushered off the plane and into the airport. Jenny and Sarah 人哋話俾佢聽啦，咁過去式啦，兩個人所以就要用 were 啦 ，were told to wait in a queue because they couldn't get their bags until their passports。好啦，呢個 passports 呢一個咧就唔應該係 were checked 啦，因為點解咧？就係話因為係先俾人去 check， 然後先至攞個袋。咁呢個動作係先發生，所以就係 had been checked。They found their bags from the hold and were relieved that they had not been damaged on the flight。即係話咧，佢哋因為佢係呢個咧，因為呢一個動作咧都係呢件事，佢揾佢嘅袋啦，而揾到個袋之前係冇俾人哋去即係損毀咁嘅意思啊。咁呢個動作係遠過即係俾呢件事發生噶嘛。如果真係俾人哋整爛嘅話，咁所以咧呢兩個咧都會需要用 past perfect 啦。OK， 咁因為呢兩個動作咧都係遠過邊一個嘅咧？都係遠過呢個 found their bags 啦。同埋都係 get their bags， 即係佢哋攞個袋之前要俾人哋 check 個 passport 啦，咁而揾即係去行李帶度攞個行李嘅之前咧就會係即係如果係損毀嘅話，都會係呢件係之前嘅事。We 乜嘢咧？We 乜嘢 will be taken， 即係人哋會帶佢 will be taken straight to the hotel. The taxi driver is called 或者係 was called OK 嘅，因為呢一個你會見到佢係即係佢不嬲個名係啦，或者係佢複述翻佢當時，所以係 was called。John and he was very friendly. He told them that Barcelona has some of the world's most beautiful buildings. They 呢一個咧係 were designed， 因為 had been designed 啦，見唔見到呢個？Before 咁，所以呢一個係佢起嘅之前已經俾人設計㗎啦，咁所以係 had been designed。A man called Antoni Gaudi before they 好啦，呢個咧見唔見到 ago， 所以呢一個咧就會係用 simple past tense 啦。呢一個咧係 they were built they were built long ago. John said one of them, the Sagrada Familia was so complex that 呢個咧好即係呢一個嘅聖家大教堂啦 ，and it's 你會見到咧就係咩 today。話呢個聖家大教堂咧係而家係仍然俾人哋起緊啦。咁由於呢個 still 呢一個咧，所以應該咧就係 was still being built， 即係話咧係俾人哋仍然係起緊嘅。咁而家呢個係呢個聖家教堂呢一個嗰陣時嗰個高第設計咗之後，到而家起咗好多年都仲喺度起緊。It had taken so long and still hadn't been finished. When Jenny and Sarah arrived at the hotel, they were shown to the room， 即係咧佢就 show 俾佢睇過佢哋間房啦。咁呢度咧留意下，主要咧係有3個 past perfect tense 啦。呢個 had decide， 咁因為其實都好明顯有個 before， 即係話佢起嘅之前係俾呢個人，因為呢個人已經死咗噶啦。咁佢呢個人設計，咁所以呢一個設計嘅嘢咧就係需要係用 past perfect 啦。咁其餘嗰啲都主要係 past tense 嘅啫。好啦，接住到 proofreading 啦，睇睇佢錯乜嘢啦。The view from the hotel was lovely 啦，當然係。Jenny could see the whole city, even the Sagrada Familia on the distance. She 呢個啦，唔係 on the distance 啦，英文係 in the distance， 即係從遠距離咧，係竟然喺酒店間房都會見到噶。She wanted to visit， 咁呢個漏咗個 to 啦。To visit a museum first, and luckily the flight had arrived in the morning. So Jenny and Sarah had the whole day to watch all things in Barcelona. 呢一個咧 watch 係應該係變咗係 to see 啦，或者係係啦，因為佢有係 see 或者係 visit all things， 即係佢可以去睇嘢或者去用 see 會啱啲，因為點解咧 ？watch 咧係你會坐喺個戲院度，你唔喐，而佢係啲嘢係會喐嘅嘢，先至會用 watch 嘅。咁所以呢個應該係用 see 或者 visit 都 OK。Although she was not going all over the world，but Jenny 呢個咧好明顯有 although， 咁所以咧就唔應該要有 but 啦。Jenny wanted to stay in Spain for longer than one night. Jenny and Sarah went round the town by foot. 英文咧係一定要係 on foot 嘅 ，but it rained so they had to shelter in a cafe。因為咧cafe 係一個名詞啦，咁所有名詞前面咧都必須要有一個 a and the 或者 some 啊 any 啊嘅呢啲咁樣嘅字。They rode on a bus and arrived on a huge park where they sat on a bench and enjoyed。呢個第8題啦，就they arrived 唔係 on arrive at a huge park where they sat on a bench。arrive at arrive 啦，如果你係 arrive in 啦，就係一個大啲嘅地方，例如好似 arrived in Hong Kong。但 arrive at 啦 ，at 就會係細啲嘅地方咧，就係 home。接住第9題啦 ，Barcelona was a beautiful city. In the park, Jenny see， 因為咧一直都係講緊一個過去嘅古仔啦，所以係 saw cyclist and a man selling ice cream. When they got hungry, they went to the hotel， 即係翻去佢肚餓咧就翻去個酒店啦。When they went to the hotel。到 gerunds and infinitive forms 啦 ，Sarah liked eating in hotel restaurants， 即係佢好中意去食嘢啦，佢每次肚餓都。She had visited a lot of hotels and thought that hotel food was the best. Jenny was excited to see the London Philharmonic Orchestra later. She loved listening to classical music. She had read on the internet that you had to book seats， 即係話你要早啲就要去 book 啦。咁留意下咧，就係 had 啦。如果假如咧，你哋佢俾 had 你啦，唔會 had booked 㗎。咁因為咧，其實 had 呢一個咧，如果假如佢想你 had booked 啦，佢基本上兩個 had 都唔會俾你。咁所以好多時如果 has、have 或者 had 啦，如果係一個 gerund infinitive 喺就算喺 tenses 裏邊咧，你都會知道佢基本上係想你加 to 或者加 ing 嗰種。咁 had 啦就需要 had to book。OK， 咁 excited 喺呢個 adjective 後邊咧就當然加 to 咯。like 後邊咧就要加 gerund 嘅。接住咧第4個啦，佢話係佢 佢話 Jenny and Sarah would have to leave the restaurant at 7:30 p.m. because the concert was starting at 8 p.m. It's no good. It's no good 後邊咧係要加 gerund 嘅。It's no good being late. No good being late。咁呢個咧就係一個 no good 後邊要加 gerund， 記住。Sarah kept 後邊咧都係要加 gerund 嘅。咁kept 乜嘢咧？第5 kept saying that she would pay for the meal because Jenny deserved a treat. Jenny of course let Sarah 呢個第6啦，let Sarah pay 即係會由得佢俾錢啦咁樣。咁記住咧 kept 後邊咧係加 gerund 啦 ，let 後邊咧就要加 bare infinitive 嘅。咁接住第7題啦 ，The food was delicious and they enjoy 乜嘢咧 ？Listening to a band planning music， 即係嗰個對樂隊咧喺度計劃緊佢哋嘅音樂啦。咁所以咧就係listening to。When they had finished, they looked forward to。咁記住 look forward to 咧呢一個係加 gerund 啦 ，enjoy。咁而 look forward to 都係一個加 gerund 嘅詞語嚟㗎，記住 look forward to 雖然有個 to， 但係後邊咧就會係需要加 ing。咁所以第8題咧就係 attending the orchestra。Therefore, they thought that 乜嘢 a taxi was the best way。taking a taxi 啦，第9係 taking a taxi was the best way to get to the concert。第10啦 ，to get to the concert because it was quite far away。接住落到 relative pronouns 啦 ，the taxi driver 呢個人嚟㗎嘛，咁所以咧就係 who 啦。咁而咧你都會見到咧就係話the taxi driver who drove Jenny and Sarah to the concert was very friendly. He asked a lot about their holiday. He asked 乜嘢 they were staying 咧？佢問佢喺邊度住咯。咁雖然冇問啦，但係 ask where they were staying and 乜嘢啊？幾時會離開啦？咁因為由於你會見到呢一組 they were staying 梗係住喺邊啦 ，they would be leaving 就究竟幾時離開啦，所以係 when they would be leaving。Jenny said that unfortunately they would be leaving tomorrow. Although Barcelona was lovely and they had a tight schedule to keep to, the venue for the concert was very grand and the man by the door 第4啦 whom they walk past。Whom 或者 who 都得嘅，如果學校係未學嗰個 whom 嘅話，但係由於呢一個 who 啦，即係呢個係 whom 啦，係因為 they walk past 嗰個 man 啊，明唔明啊？即係 a man，而嗰個 man 咧係一個 object。當你係要代一個下一句嘅 object 嘅話咧，就其實最正確係用 whom 嘅。咁但係 who 都 OK 嘅，如果你未學 whom。咁whom they walk past was very polite and dressed in a smart uniform. Another man showed them which seats they should be taking， 即係究竟邊一張凳，所以係 which seats they would be sitting in。And Jenny was overjoyed because they had a perfect view of the orchestra. Sarah left to get a drink at the bar, but Jenny wanted her to be back in her seat。乜嘢咧？係啦，第6咧係當，即係佢要當佢一開始，即係 when the orchestra start playing 咧，就需要翻嚟噶啦。Jenny looked through a program in 乜嘢 there were details in which 即係喺裏邊啊 in which there were details of the orchestra members 即係嗰啲人啦，咁所以咧就係 who were playing that night。好啦，呢一度咧接住 conditional 呢一度咧呢5句咧只係一個 suggested answer 嚟嘅啫，咁全部都係suggest answers， 咁你可以試下作咗另外一啲句子俾我對嘅。If Jenny becomes a musician in orchestra， 咁如果假如佢係 orchestra 裏邊嘅一個 musician 啦，就係she。因為你會見到呢個 becomes 係一個conditional one 嘅現在式啦，咁樣咧就 she will become famous， 即係佢會變得好出名啦。She would have known how to play an instrument， 即係話佢會呢個 conditional 3咧 would have known， 咁樣咧就係 if she had learned it earlier。 就係話如果佢之前有學過，佢就會識啦。咁但係呢一個咧係 conditional three，因為咧就係代表佢後悔，其實係冇，即係佢冇學到咁嘅意思咯。呢一個係 conditional one，即係話佢有可能會出名，即係話如果佢變成 musician 就會出名啦。第三題啦 ，If Jenny had not quit her piano lessons when she was 15，咁呢個見到 had not quit 啦，都係 conditional three 嚟㗎啦呢一個。咁所以咧就會係 she would have 乜嘢咧 ？would have 如果佢冇 quit 咧 would have performed in concerts。係啦，即係話如果佢咧唔係15歲就已經停咗彈琴嘅話咧，佢可能已經喺啲演唱會裏邊表演啦。但係你會見到咧呢個 would have performed 就會對翻呢個 conditional three 嘅 had quit。呢個 would have known 會對翻 conditional three 嘅 had learned。即係 if 嗰邊咧就會係 had learned，if 嗰邊就 had quit。咁呢邊 if 後邊咧就係只係用一個 simple present， 所以另一邊咧就會係用 will become。If Jenny had money, she 呢個 had 即係假設佢其實真係冇錢啦。She would travel for a longer period of time。係啦，咁你會見到呢個 had 即係假設啦，呢個係 would travel 就會啦。咁即係話其實佢係冇咁多錢，所以唔可以咁長時間。If Jenny will be 啦，咁 will be 應該係 Jenny will be a member of the concert if she 乜嘢咧 ？If she 應該係 if she knows how to play the piano。咁其實咧係作呢啲句子嘅話咧，就係最重要一樣嘢咧，就係你要對翻佢之前提供嗰個嘅 tense 啦。咁知道究竟佢係 conditional 1啦、2啊，抑或係3啦。咁然後咧呢個係1啦，咁你就會能夠可以即係對翻啱去作到啱嘅句子啦。然後啦，到 articles and nouns 啦，咁你睇翻 the concert was， 因為呢個 A 字頭，所以係 an amazing performance。And the whole audience clapped and cheered. Jenny and Sarah left the venue， 因為 venue 係嗰個地點啊，咁即係得一個地點嘅啫嘛，所以指明 left the venue and wandered into 第3啦 town， 即係入咗去嗰個鎮。They found a nice bar that served lots of exotic drinks. So Sarah and Jenny ordered a drink each and watched the barman， 因為咧就係因為喺嗰間鋪頭裏邊嗰個嘛指明，咁所以係 the barman 即係嗰個即係調酒嗰個人 pour lots of liquids together in a complicated mixture. They sat down on chairs。咁呢一個咧係因為眾數，所以唔需要一個 a 或者 an 啦，又唔需要指明啦。They sat down on chairs then Sarah 人名係唔需要 a and the 啦。Said look Jenny, they have a piano in there。即係話咧有一個鋼琴喎。You should play something。Jenny was nervous. She hadn't played the piano。記住咧 play 如果假如係 piano 啦 ，play 如果假如喺 piano 前面係個 play 嘅話咧，係需要加個 the 字嘅。Play the piano in a long time。跟住啦 ，Jenny felt like she was in an orchestra。到 adjective adverbs 啦，咁呢一個 Jenny was having the wonderful wonder 就轉 wonderful 啦。Time playing the piano in the bar and everyone thought her music sounded lovely。好啦，呢一度啦 ，Barcelona were very friendly， 即係好多好友善嘅人啦。Jenny and Sarah left the bar sadly， 即係好唔開心啦。Because they had to leave Barcelona, but also they left the bar sadly but also happily。因為呢度咧 left 係嗰個動詞，咁所以呢一個咧唔可以就咁 happy。left 呢個後邊呢個係一個副詞，呢個都係需要係一個副詞，所以係 happily。跟住咧 ，they were flying to Greece, which was sunny， 即係會係好陽光普照啦。So they were going to lie in the sun and have a thoroughly relaxing time. The next morning, Jenny woke up sleepily. Because she didn't sleep for long and went to the airport, she wondered what amazing adventures 即係話有啲乜嘢極好玩嘅嘢 she would have next.